with Ideal Health Chiropractic joining us. How are you?
Good, good. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. So this is a big time for a lot of people back to school.
It is, absolutely. And, like you said, the ADHD and ADD is definitely something that's on the parents' minds, especially if their kids have struggled with it in the past.
So tell us what exactly this ADHD and ADD does to someone with that kind of brain.
Well, I think a lot of people are familiar with it, but mostly what's going on is that it's just a misfiring of the brain, where the brain that, we have a right and left side, and it's just not operating the way that it's supposed to. Very complex if we want to get into the science of it, but mostly what we got to think about is that you got this front part of the brain, which is called the frontal lobe, and that's what is mostly not operating the way it's supposed to, and allowing them to not be able to control their behaviors and things of that nature.
So what causes the misfiring like that to happen?
Well, there can be several things that cause the misfiring. A lot of times there's environmental factors, things that are in the food, additives, a lot of emotional stress, lots of different stuff can really do that. But most importantly, it's just interference within the nervous system. So obviously you have the brain, you got the spinal cord, and you can think of it more as like the roads down in Dallas. When stuff starts to get congested, it backs the traffic up. Same thing happens in the brain. The information that's traveling, the messages that are traveling, they start to get backed up and not allowing that to operate properly.
Wow. So then there's got to be a way to figure out how to get that straight then.
Absolutely.
And how do we do that?
Well, most of the time what it comes down to is just, first of all, we got to have a proper evaluation of the brain and the nervous system in its entirety. That's just going to include some simple neurological testing where we actually challenge and check every lobe of the brain and see how it's working. When we find those areas that are deficient, then that's when we can start treatment, or we can put together a care plan that's going to specifically help to rehab that.
Okay, and so it needs to be, like you said, first the evaluation.
Absolutely.
Okay, and what kind of process is that like? Is it a long process, or is it?
No, it might take 15 to 30 minutes, but we're just going to challenge all those different parts of the brain, because whether we're looking at balance or whether we're looking at certain eye movements and things like that, you can pick up subtleties that show us where the deficiency is going to be in the brain.
Okay, so if parents think that their children may need to have an evaluation like this, what can you all do for them?
Well, first off, the evaluation, we just got to look at that. A lot of times, I mentioned the environmental factors, different things in the foods. We're going to start to evaluate what's going on with that stuff as well, so that we can determine if maybe some of those things are what's causing the hyperactivity and preventing it from working the way that it's supposed to.
Wonderful. People can just give you a call?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. We'll put all the information on our web channel, kxii.com. And again, it's right around the corner, so now would be the time to go ahead and get that evaluation.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.